So I'm looking now at a design. This is kind of corner to corner. Not totally happy with that, but I'm thinking this is kind of busy. Da, 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 da. Just thinking more simply this time. And this is kind of nice right here. So I'm going to work with this idea. And I'm going to leave this in your vision so you can see what's happening. Of course, it's going to take it a little while to focus because we're...
Something focus on this.
Well, it has to have something to focus on. I'm going to move in just, or no, I'm going to stay right about here, I guess. Okay, I'm going to put this under here. So now you can see my idea. Oh, but I'm going to have to do it like this.
Is it trying to autofocus? Is it
The reason it's having a hard time focusing is because it's on a white paper. There. Now I have to, this is what I'm going to do right here. Something similar to that. And in order to design this, I'm not going to do this full strength paint. I'm going to take just a little bit of this paint and see, I'm going to dilute it with lots of water. All I want is enough color in here so I can design the shape. If I try to design the shape with just water, it's going to be impossible. You won't, nobody, not even me, will know what I'm doing. So here's the idea. I've got a little bit of color in here, and see, I'm going to come in and design this shape. And I'm looking at this right here. That's my inspiration. And I'm going to go from there over to here. And then I'm going to take you off the page here. Ooh, this is fun. Then I'm going to come back like this. Just a little bit of water. Lot of water, a little bit of color. So sometimes I'm stroking it. I'm leaving whites. I'm not doing this all solid. Do you see that? And what I'm also doing is I'm touching off the paper in a lot of places over here. And I'm making bridges because when I pour the color down, it's got to go through this, it's got to flow, and it's got to have a little bridge to take me, the color, whatever you want to call it, from one position to another. And I'm trying to give it kind of a nice rocky feel. I love this, rocking back and forth. So now I'm going to take you off the page over here, down here. Is there enough color for you to see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things I don't want you to do is to use your full strength color. You wouldn't do that, would you, boys and girls?
Well, why not?
Maybe.
What's the hesitation? The answer is no. Okay, so I do not want to see solid dark color because the idea is we're going to float the color into this. And now I'm going to juice up this color. I'm going to have more, I'm adding more water to these areas because it has to flow. The whole idea is pouring. We are pouring it. And if you're using a little teeny brush, don't do it. Get out your 1.5 inch. Connect these. See, now I'm making sure I have bridges that go from here to here to here to here, all the way to the bottom. Ta-da! Now, remember this little guy? This is called a pipette. And first time I did this, we didn't have a pipette. We poured it. But I'm going to suck this up, and now I can control where I put this. Look at that. Is this too much fun or what?
Oh.
This is Iridescent Russet.
Oh.
I'm pretty happy with it.
Oh,
So,
now's the time for a picture.
oh,
we don't have time, do we?
yes, I do have time. Thank you. So we're gonna take a picture of this. So this is step one. Now, your paper has to be on a board. And you know why? You do not handle the paper, you handle the board with the paper on it. Now, this is where we're gonna start doing a little bit of this tricky stuff. And don't tip it too much, because we wanna have we're gonna put other colors in here. Ooh. And I don't want it just running out doing its own dripping. I want it to stay where I put it.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing I like, oh, I got one.
Well, that's a good drip.
Yeah, it's a good drip, but I don't want to lose too much more. Now, one of the things I'm extremely happy with is this granulation. It's really, really beautiful. Oh my gosh. How can I be so lucky? Now I'm going to do Lunar Black. And I'm going to suck this up in my pipette. And I'm just going to place this Lunar Black, not everywhere, just where I want it.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't this exciting? So we'll come along here. The pipette is magic. You have to have the pipette.
Where do you order those? Online, I suppose.
I have them for sale.
Okay.
Imagine that.
Yeah, because I tried to find those a while ago and I couldn't find them.
You can find them on Amazon.
You can find them anywhere.
Yeah, but you have to get so many.
I went around the little town of Washburn and I bought every pipette they had, and they came in a little bottle for $3 1/4, and I had 20 people in the class. It was a big investment.
Oh, boy.
No, but these, I didn't care. I wanted them that bad. Okay, now I'm going to take another picture. Step 2. Now we're going to tip. And see, that color granulates beautifully too. Ooh. Ooh, fun. Oh, I got a few extra drips. It's okay.
Tipping gently. Again.
And then I want another bigger shape here. I'm gonna add some more water. You can do anything you want. I love throwing it like that. I love these little drippies that happen. And I want a little bit more here. So I'm gonna add some more of the black right through here.
Did you do this with Peter too, Jen?
No. Does he do it?
I thought that's what the lesson was, pouring paint. I didn't go.
See, everybody who
really
pours
pour it.
paint
He just-
does it differently.
Karlyn, I think this
He
will
had us
also
make
work with acrylic.
tons of it up and we just
I bet it
did
would.
layers.
Beautiful.
And then tip
You went with
let
the
'em merge
granulation though.
a
That's
little bit.
true.
The granulation.
Nothing like
the
this.
Lunar Black.
You don't think you'll
Longer
get
it says
granulation from
more
acrylic?
No, I did not know that.
No.
You can.
I would think you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like what's happening.
It out enough. Yeah.
Maybe I made.
I love this.
Granulate longer.
Now you can still add you can lift up areas that you don't like, and if your color isn't staining, it will lift up pretty clean. If your color is staining, it's always a good idea to like that color where it is.
Don't fuss.
That's what I plan to do.
Maybe we should practice on a little piece of paper.
No practicing. Get in there and go for it. Now, I really am liking the black. I like what's happening in here.
The black is pretty.
So I'm going to do more black. I've been trying to get rid of this Lunar Black for years. Probably gonna buy some more now.
Because it's so cool. Don't you have other blacks to get rid of too?
Well, this has been really fun digging out my old colors to do this. And this has been the year of the recycling.
Yes.
We've done, Bring your old dogs and we gesso them, bring your old paints, we turn them into
That could be
master
the title of your
pieces.
next book.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have to look for new lessons. I'm gonna put all of these in my new e-course. And you might be in this one. So far, I like this. Okay, every time,
Something to aspire for, to make one of Karlyn's books.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
put in the books.
now sometimes if I have thrown the paint, so you saw a lot of little teeny shapes that are moving, but a lot of times people stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. They don't have a connection, the paint isn't flowing like you see here. And when that happens, what I'll do is I'll suggest stuff like, just take your finger and make a connection. See? Or take the end of a brush. So I know you'll think of your own ingenious ways to do it, but don't feel trapped or don't force this to go somewhere and then everything takes off and you lose control. I love this against the white. Ooh, is this pretty?
That is stunning.
The colors are great. I don't think it needs an accent color. I'm thinking I might leave it. Now, one of my favorite things is to have some areas lost. In this case, some areas look lost because of the softness. But if I wanted to lose edges, this is how I would do it. With a little mist. And sometimes I have to touch it just to get it out there. So I might lose a few edges here and there. And then in some of these soft edges, what I like to do is to put a little bit of salt or a little color sanding. I mean, there's so many techniques that you can do. But I actually like this one the way it is.
That's a nice effect.
I think I'm going to do my salt. Does anybody have my salt? For some reason I don't see it.
But I have
I
some
have
here.
popcorn and I have, is that okay?
We all have your soul.
Oh, good. Thank you. Okay, so never hold your salt over your painting when you're doing this. So I am going to put a little bit of salt, which I think will be similar to the granulation. And I did a little bit here where this is where I misted it. Do you remember that? And I did a little bit in here. And then I think I'm going to mist just a little hair in here, because I like to vary it a bit. And then put just a little in here. So just for a little rehash now, we started on dry paper. Make sure you're on the front of the paper. Get a support board underneath, and your colors are mixed up before you do anything. And then using a little bit of the color, just a dab of the color with lots of water, that's when you design this whole thing with just water and a brush. No pencils, nothing. And then start with either your dark or your light, your choice, and just let it go. I'm gonna do another little quickie.
Question,
Sure.
how do you make the paper stick to the board? Do you wet the board?
No, don't do anything.
So just keep it totally dry.
You don't have to ever lift this up. I never tipped it more than a little angle like that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so you're in charge.
It's going to buckle a little bit then, honestly.
Right now I'm getting puddles. You can see where it's moving in. Now, another thing you can do, you can use your pipette, clean it out. Just clean it out. And you can use your pipette to suck up color.
Of course.
Or a dry brush.
No, I like the pipette.
Okay.
If you get a big puddle somewhere, I don't have any, but sometimes I get such big puddles, I literally suck it up and move it somewhere else. Or at this point, I would just carefully tip it to get a little more. The tipping is what gives me the granulation. And I may decide to do something to this later, and I may decide that I like it just the way it is. So I want you to do more than one. I'm ready to start thinking about finishing this painting. And I love the lovely swooping lines. I was originally going to treat it as an abstract, and I kept looking at the abstract as a vertical, which I like very much. But all of a sudden, it just hit me. This would make a great, like just lines that are defining, it could be sky or ground, but having that more or less horizontal thrust, it feels like a landscape. And I just got back from Venice, and I'm really excited about putting in some Venetian touches, like San Marco in particular. It's one of my favorite subjects. So I'm going to show you a little bit of history here. This is a piece I painted many, many years ago. In fact, I don't have the painting. This is a print of it. And I was there on a rainy day, and I remember sitting under the arcade looking at this with all the people, and it took a long, long time to draw. But I made sure I got everything in there, and as many people as I could stand, every single little embellishment I put in. It was fun. I loved it. Then I was back a few years later. Ta-da! And this was what I did. I sat in the same place, same arcade over protecting me. It was still a little bit of a wet day that day. And I said, okay, I'm only going to paint the things that interest me. So this time I just started up here, and I just kept drawing and moving down, and just left out all the detail here, and then came in and just finished it up with the birds and just let the lines melt out. And I thought, this is fantastic. So this is all part of a series I'm doing now called Less is More. I'm trying to tell a story by not putting in every detail, just putting in the things that I'm reacting to emotionally that I want to share. So back to this painting, I've decided that what I want to do is I just want to start drawing with this pencil. It's a very large black watercolor pencil. It's made by Stabilo, from London, or I should say from the British Isles. And it's called the Woody, and I have enjoyed this over the years because when you draw with it, it activates so easily. Let me give you a little example. So for example, when I want to start drawing in some of this detail here, my plan is to then wet it, because this is what I enjoy about this pencil. And then after I wet it, I can come in and even pull some of the color into this graphite look that I love. So you can see how quickly I can make it work. The colors just relax. I can do it with the sprayer. So if I want to, I can pull even more detail that way. And I think this is going to work out great. So let's get started. You can see I can even lift it if it goes too far. So I'm ready now. So I want, in approximately the 1/3 area, this is where I kind of want to start the drawing here. And I want to be careful. I love to draw. See, I don't want it to draw too much. And that's a problem for me, because I love detail. And for me to try to put this into less is more, this is a real challenge for me, but I know I can do it because I've been working at it for quite a while now. And of course, this is important, this whole spectacular spire here, the cross. Just think, this basilica is 1,000 years old. It just blows my mind every time I think about it. Every time I go there, it's so beautiful. I don't think I can do it justice here, but I'm going to try. And then right in front of this one, there's another. I do have a picture I'm looking at. And right in front of this, there's now another wonderful and they just overlap each other. I love stuff like this. Usually these cathedrals and basilicas are very, what's the word? They're perfect. And this one is perfect, but it doesn't, it's not worried about the balancing out. They just kept adding these. I love it. So now we've got this main entrance, which is kind of working out in the middle of my paper, but I can handle that. So I do want to bring the people down here. I just don't want to give them too much detail. That's why I'm using this great big pencil. Oh, this is way too much fun. And we'll bring it down here. This has got those interesting just works out. I have a lovely dark area right here. I like that a lot. And then we've got some of these posts coming down here. And we've got another round shape here. And then this shape pretty much goes across here. I don't want to get into that too much. So I do like what's happening here with the vertical. So now I'm going to come in here. There is another lovely steeple here. You know, I'd actually really like to sharpen this. You can see it's quite blunt here, very heavy. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to make myself deal with this heavier line here. Now we do have more of these shapes here. I think I'll go into a little bit of that. And then there's just a ton of these little steeples. I just love these guys. I have to put some of these in. There's just tons of them here. So now I've got to think, let's see, I've got, this is happening here. It's kind of interesting, possibly, I was almost thinking about putting in some gold. I actually mixed up a little gold here. Something I'm thinking about. I still have this black that I did pour on here originally. I might decide to do a little more of that. So first of all, I gotta develop my less is more. And pretty soon I'm gonna have to quit or it's gonna be too much. I love this horizontal line here. Of course, this is the beautiful, the gold in here, the tile work, it's incredible. And the saints that are painted here, see, I'm just dying to put in a little more detail here. Oh, I might have to do it just a little bit. And then this is gonna take us off the page here. Okay, a little bit more. Now right about here is where these are going around. They're a little bit above eye level, so I'm gonna have to round them out a bit here. This doesn't look like it's fat enough. And this one's a little lower. Oh yeah, I like that. Every one of these have a cross on top. So that's really cool. And of course, these are all those incredible sculptures. Oh gosh. I'm glad I've drawn this a few times already. It's starting to feel a lot more comfortable. Okay, so I'm going to add some more darks here. In my focal area, I like to put a little more detail and then just let it kind of melt out. So now we're ready to come in with some water and my sprayer. So I just have about a size 8 brush here. And one of the first things I want to do is I just want to wet this and let some of this come down. You can see it really, really activates. Oh, it's fun. So with just a little provocation here, it just activates beautifully. And if it's too much, I like this, I can lift it away. Now over here, I want to do a similar thing, wet, and just activate enough to tell the story, but not all the details. That feels good. Ooh, I'm having fun. These I'm going to leave, I'm not going to wet them. Now I'm going to come down into this area of interest here. And this can get extra dark. Now this is really fun here. I'm just going to take off some of the moisture, so my brush is slightly damp, not soaking wet, because I want to save some of these. I wanted more of a dry brush look. So I'm leaving some of the whites, and I'm just activating enough to say this is going to read as a dark. Now it's dark. I'm looking at my picture too. Wet my brush again, taking off most of the moisture. So it's just and now here, there's several layers. We'll indicate a little bit of detail here. Ooh, and this one's going to be fun. I'm just going to pretend I'm painting some of these saints here. So I'm doing some of them by painting around them negatively, and then some of them are going to get the positive treatment. Oh my gosh, there's another arch here. I don't want to get too carried away. So now this time I'm going to paint the same positive. Now as we move over here, I'm trying to build up some values to show the depth here, what's in front of what. And now the rest of this is pretty much just gonna melt out. So I'm just gonna let this melt. Even up here, I'm gonna let this melt out as a negative here. So now I'm going to come in here and get a little bit more of this beautiful basilica. This is so much fun. Man, too much. I love this little pencil. I first heard about it when I was teaching in New Zealand. My friend Pauline Halewood told me about that, and I've been using it ever since. Now here again, I'm going to create just a little bit of negative back here. See, I love the way that became sky and foreground. Ooh, ooh, this is too much fun. Okay, now I'm got a little bit more detail to play with here. Coming in. Not too much. See, I can just pick this graphite up and then paint with it. Just so cool. And then I've got these patterns here too that I don't want to lose. So every now and then I just let it become the pattern. Cool. So now we got a few more of these guys. I don't want these to be too dark though, I gotta be careful. And I could actually get these here as negatives. I think I would do that. Just gonna come in and make them part of the negative. I'm going to take my pipette and just let a little bit of this. Oops, I don't have the right color though. That's too bad. I got a blue. That's what I thought. It's okay. I'm just going to let this be. I still like it. And I couldn't find this iridescent color that I used. I just couldn't find it. But when I find it, because I just saw it the other day, I'm going to come in and paint a little bit more of the iridescent on my subject. Either that or I might just put on a little gold. When you look at a painting like this, you think it just got whipped out. But it's amazing how much thinking it takes. And lifting. It's hard to get it right the first time. Well, I think I may have done all I need to right now. I like the spray, giving us some softer edges here. Ooh, that's pretty cool. still really tempted. The gold on this is so beautiful. I just think I have to do it. Now these are liquid. They're made by Daniel Smith. And it's a liquid, it's a metallic watercolor. The one I'm using is rich gold. There's about 4 or 5 different golds. And see, all you do is you wet your brush, touch it in here, and then you can activate this. You can see here how quickly I can activate it. And when I paint it, I get this rich gold color. So I'm going to try a little bit of this. I probably should let this dry, but I'm anxious. Oh yeah, I know that this is going to have to be, I have to do this. Oh yeah, that little touch is good. Well, I'm going to let this dry and come back and finish the little touches of gold. But there you have it, San Marco in Venice. Less is more. Well, this has had a chance to dry now. And one of the things I want to do is just a little bit of finishing. I don't like this angle here. I do like all this. So I'm thinking I need to add just a little more, some linear something here. So I'm just going to come in, and there are these different shapes coming in, and maybe I could even do a little bit here with some of these poles, pillars. And I'm thinking all we have to do is just sort of wet them and just let them melt into some kind of shapes. And you will probably have noticed I did add this post, which I've always enjoyed those posts. There's a bunch of them. And then this needs to be wet here. And I'm thinking maybe I need to carry this just a little bit more detail in here. I might just wet this a bit too. Good, that's what I want. I just want to have a little bit more of these melted edges. That's what I love about this pencil. The Stabilo. It's amazing. Now, for my last depth-defying act, I really like the gold. And the gold has been just an obsession. I like doing gold leaf, but I mean, St. Mark's is just full of gold. So I've just sort of decided to at least add it in the most prominent places here, right here. It's all beautiful tile work here. There's definitely some here. See, I can also dip my brush into this and get some real bright hits. Brush just has to be damp. I thought just maybe a little touch here and there. It isn't really gold up here, but I just want to do it. It's probably pretty gold up here. I'm getting my brush wet again. So we're almost done. See, almost all these facades in here have gold. And we'll put just a little bit of that powder on there. Ah, shoot, this is fun. It's like one of those things you can't stop. Oh, just a little bit more, a little bit more. This is full of gold here, so I am going to come in, give it just a little bit more. So there you go.